I'm standing on the old Portway, the Roman road which ran from Silchester, just over there to the east, to Old Sarum near Salisbury in the west. This road goes nowhere near the sea. Port is an old word meaning a market. In Saxon charters for our area, it is called the Ealdon Way, the old road. This area is rich in history. It was probably first settled thousands of years ago during the Neolithic age. Today, on the south-facing slopes of the Downs, we can still see traces of their works, and especially the outlines of their terrace fields running down the hillside. Sadly, modern ploughing has removed much of the evidence, but traces can still be seen. In those days, there was no country called England. Our island was populated by tribes who held parts of the land. They were sometimes at war with each other over territory, but more importantly, there was also economic and cultural exchange, both within the island and with continental Europe. Verica was under pressure from the Catavilani, a tribe to the northeast, led by Caractacus, who gradually eroded his territory. Verica eventually fled to Rome and sought the help of Claudius, who seems to have found it a good opportunity to enhance his prestige by invading Britain. The Roman invaders made one of their coloniae, or regional capitals, at the Atrebates settlement at Silchester, calling it Caliva Atrebati. Caliva Atrebati became a centre of Roman government and the hub of a network of Roman roads. I'm standing in the south gateway of the old Roman town of Silchester. Out of one of these gates, the Portway ran on its journey west to Old Sarum. These mighty walls, built of local flint and stone from Bath's underground quarries, were not erected until a century after the town was established. Within these walls, a town was established with an estimated population of 10,000, an enormous population for the Britain of those days. Here there was a forum, bathhouses, temples, and all the other elements which a Roman would have regarded as a part of civilization, including an amphitheatre. In Victorian times, the modern science of archaeology almost grew out of the amateur digs on the site. Today it is again being thoroughly investigated by Reading University, and we are discovering more about this wonderful site. But is this the sum total of Roman settlement in this area? The answer has to be a resounding no, although the evidence on the ground to date is rather scant. There have of course been other Roman finds in the area, but I am now standing on a farm which is less than 10 miles away from Silchester, a short horse ride down the old Portway. This farm is located on the south-facing slope of the Downs above Kingsclere. It is recorded as Tidgrove in the Domesday Book, but evidence on the ground points to much older settlements, Celtic fields, round barrows, and a mysterious series of burial pits which have so far defied interpretation. Hello, Raleigh.
Hello, Peter.
Hi. I'm with Raleigh Place, who is a keen amateur archaeologist who has made some wonderful discoveries, not only at this farm, but also at his previous ones, one at Sandford. Raleigh, What's special about this farm?
Well, it's not only a wonderful nature reserve, it's very high in archaeological remains. This farm has been growing cereals since 1922, almost continually, in order to supply the needs. However, in the late 1980s, we decided to enter a habitat scheme, and that's been very successful. We've endeavoured to recreate, by non-interference, the natural downland. It has become a breeding ground for the endangered stone curlew, and we're managing it to enable them to thrive. Stone curlews need ploughed land during the nesting season, and in the process of creating a new breeding ground, we are discovering something else. Ploughing has thrown up shards of Roman pottery, roof tiles and brick fragments, which have been recovered by field walking. The use of metal detectors has also enabled the recovery of many coins and other metal artifacts.
What are the implications?
Well, Peter, the implications are of a major Romano-British settlement. This could be one of a number of things. It could be a villa belonging to a senior official from Silchester. It is a reasonable commuting distance. It may have been an estate established by a Roman settling in Britain on retirement from service. But the most likely answer is that it is a native settlement, the inhabitants of which were Romanised during the years of occupation.
That certainly seems to be a possibility. And these dressed stone tiles which have been found on the site certainly suggest that they came from a Romano building of some sort.
That there was an existing settlement here is suggested by the discovery of a number of gold coins predating the Roman period. It could be an estate belonging to a Briton who had joined the Roman establishment.
So what happens now?
We are currently carrying out a geophysical survey using the University of Southampton. Preliminary results look very encouraging.
Good. Currently, we have two sites under investigation. Here it is hoped that evidence of a Romano-British dwelling may be unearthed. At this site, we have the exciting prospect of finding Henry II's Royal Lodge location. I'm with Chris Strutt from the University of Southampton Geophysical Unit, and he's an expert in surveying these underground sites. Chris, what exactly are you doing here?
And we're doing a geophysical survey on the site behind us here to try and locate any buried archaeological remains. We use two techniques, one is magnetometry and one is resistivity. The magnetometer is looking for changes in the Earth's magnetic field caused by the fills of ditches. The resistivity is passing a current through the ground, looking for changes in the resistance to the current where there are walls or ditches present.
That's just like we all see on Time Team, is that right?
Exactly the same.
Okay. Now what sort of things do you hope to find?
On this site here we're hoping to find the remains of the Celtic field system and hopefully either a farmstead or Roman villa on the site, and possibly some earlier phases of the earlier structures there.
Sounds very exciting.
Yeah, it should be pretty incredible.
Good. Well, I can't keep you from your work. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
In addition to the geophysical survey, we have also been involving children from our local schools in field walking the site to see what their sharp eyes can find. I'm now going to walk down over to the site and see if they have managed to find anything of interest. So what is it you think you found?
I think it's a piece of pottery.
Why do you think that?
It's got like a rim. And it's curved round and then like that goes over the edge. Yes, it probably would have been a big circle. Like a large pot. Yeah.
So, what, with the shoulder out like that?
Yeah. Like, and then
They've gone around, yeah.
Maybe
Good,
just
yes.
maybe just.
It looks like quite a big pot, doesn't it? If you put that around loads of
How
times.
big do you think it was?
Around about that big.
Oh, look at that.
I think it's quite big because it'll be like.
Now we've got to record it.
It's in box 5 if you put it this way.
Yep.
So
3, and then put a mark round there.
around here.
Yeah, and then draw a line. An arrow.
We have now moved on 1,000 years or so. I am with Robert Legg, who for many years was the vicar of Kingsclere and who has spent his retirement researching local history. Robert, tell us about this track.
Well, this track appears in ancient deeds as the King's Highway. In fact, it's part of the road which ran from the south coast up to Reading and thence to London. The road leads to the top of White Hill, near the modern TV mast above Kingsclere. Continues through the town, becomes the Brimpton Road, also named the King's Highway in ancient deeds. Then of course on to Reading, Windsor and London. This was the road often used by Anglican kings coming from Normandy. We know for instance that it was used by King John when bringing his child bride home from France for her coronation at Westminster. Norman kings were always on the move. They had to be seen by and be available to their subjects.
So Robert, what was important about this particular track?
Well, it passes through the ancient forest of Whittingley, which was later known as Fremantle. We know from the pipe rolls that here at Tidgrove, Henry II built one of what were known as the King's Houses, often referred to as hunting lodges. But it was much more important than that. When the royal court stayed here on its travels, it became effectively almost the capital of England, certainly the centre of administration. Administration only moved to Westminster when the king was out of the country. They needed a secure place to break their journey, a travel lodge if you like. We know one was built here from the account in the pipe rolls. They give the cost of building the houses, of the chapel, and the cost of further work on the buildings. Also references to the cost of providing food and wine for the royal visit. But what remains a mystery is the precise location of the buildings. In 1926, Mr. Bull, a teacher at the Kingsclere school and a keen local historian and archaeologist, noticed in a crop growing in this field indications of a large rectangular enclosure. Further examination showed that a bank and outer ditch enclosed an area of about 80 metres by 30 metres. This observation has been subsequently confirmed by aerial photographs, so the outline of the enclosure can be clearly seen. More recently, field walking and metal detection have revealed many fragments of brick and stone, quantities of medieval pottery, and metal artefacts including an arrowhead and a fine medieval buckle. All this means that it would appear that this was a strong contender with the site of the King's Tidgrove houses. No evidence has been found of any other contending site at Tidgrove, and overall measurements were roughly in line with other known contemporary hunting lodges, especially that at Writtle in Essex, which has been completely excavated. This is the initial result of the geophysical survey on the Royal House site. It confirms many of Mr. Bull's conclusions.
I'm with Mike Lear and Keith Whiteman from the Kingsclere Heritage Association, who have been the two prime movers in this project. Now then, Keith, what happens next?
Once Southampton University have processed the results of the geophysical survey, we will get in touch with David Hopkins, the Hampshire County archaeologist, to get his advice on the best way forward. This will include parts of the excavation site which is best left to professionals, and those parts which we can safely allow amateurs to take part in.
Mike, as chairman of the association, have you anything you'd like to add?
We're very grateful to the Local Heritage Initiative providing us with funding to get this far. We now need to apply for further funding to take us to phase 2 of our project. In August 2004, we hope to hold a full-scale archaeological dig when we will require the services of many volunteers. It won't be easy, but we hope to enable some disabled people to participate, and in this respect we should be applying to the Nationwide Building Society for funding.
So it's forward to 2004.